If you're breaking cycles right now or generational curses, give yourself some grace because breaking those patterns and creating new patterns of behavior and thought algorithms through discipline is no joke. And to really embrace God's love is to ride on a sea amidst the ways of this ever changing wind that is always at your back and not, going forward at you. And it's like you're always able to see the stars in the evening time on that ocean. And it's this big ocean of love as well. And it's very difficult sometimes to actually maneuver through the terrible qualities of people that are just, you have love for these people because God commands you to, but yet at the same time, it's as if they're so far away, they're so caught up in their own world that they don't even see what's actually being said. They are only listening to you because they want to try to find something wrong about what you're saying. It's like these people have no recollection of what's actually going on in the world. They're so busy trying to focus on proving you wrong that they're not even living their own life. And it's hard to watch some of these people sometimes, and it's difficult to see other people sabotage themselves, feeling like they don't need things or that they don't want things. They're repressing their own sense of well-being because they don't want to have the image that they might need more help than they really let on. And you feel like you're the only one seeing things clearly in the world at this point. Like you're seeing everything for what it is, no more, no less. And sometimes it feels like you're going crazy. But it's not that you're going crazy. It's just that these people are so in their, well, some of you might be going crazy, who knows? But the point is that there are people that are out there that are hoping to see you fall, that are hoping to see you fail. And these are monitoring spirits, and they can attack you in dreams, or they can attack you spiritually in the matrix, the system, the simulation. And there are other things that can be involved when it comes to these kinds of things in general, because it's such a vast topic and there's so much to talk about in regards to it. But specifically in your dreams and in your daily life, you have to watch out for this. I had a one-on-one session with someone earlier, and they were talking about the dreams that they had, and I was very, not necessarily perplexed or surprised, but I was joyfully feeling as though, like I was joyful about their recognition of the significance of the dream, even though it was kind of a not pleasant dream. It was like, listen to your soul, because a lot of people are refusing to listen to their souls this time. A lot of people are not listening to themselves. And so it's like, well, if you're going to really be the strongest type of person, if you want to be the strongest type of person that you can possibly be in the world, for the people that you love, that you care for, those around you, if you want to be that person who is not greedy for hope, but neither pushing it away either, then I think that it's best for you to just embody whatever it is that your soul is trying to tell you and just move based off of your intuition. Because I've seen people that operate in their intuition and their instincts, they often don't know how to describe what they're feeling or sensing or exploring in the world, but they just know certain things, right? They just have this knowledge about certain things. And I think that there's a lot of people in the world that are so in the gutters of their soul. Their souls have just been tampered with so much and pushed down into the depths of their soul that they don't even know what the soul feels like. And you can feel when someone is actually embodying their soul, because you just feel like it's them. You can feel that it's who they are, even if you maybe don't exactly agree with everything or whatnot. You still just feel them, and you have this reverence and respect for who they are and what they are and who they've made themselves to be, because there's this quality to them that is so freeing and yet very controlled. It's not opaque in the slightest. It's definitely, it's like beatific, I would say. And there's so many people that are completely caught off of guard by these people that they meet, because it's so rare when it happens. And a lot of people are, you're going to be operating at a high vibration so much that you are going to be invisible to these people sometimes. And that's when you're going to especially feel like you're the only one seeing certain things. Like, I've been studying Bitcoin quite a bit over the past few months, and especially over the past few weeks. I've definitely got the sense that, okay, I understand what this is. I get it. And the more I explore it, the more I realize just how screwed this system is, and how everybody's living off of borrowed time. And in a sense, God did give us this gift of life, but does that mean that we have to borrow it? I guess in some way, shape, or form, it depends on the semantic term of borrow. Are we borrowing time? Are we dreaming our own lives, or are we indebted to our own lives? It depends on how free you think you are, because I think that you can be in debt as far as the fiat system is concerned and still be free spiritually. I don't think that it's a good idea, but I think that it's possible. And I don't even think it's possible. I know it's possible, because time is relative. And if you are able to step outside the time continuum, and we recognize the eschatology for what it is, then we know that things are going to happen in the upcoming future, however long that is, that we can act as if it's already going to happen or happened, or we're living it as we speak. That's one of the beautiful things about prophecy as well. The reading the Bible and such, you get this great sense of understanding that these people are not just trying to be religious fanatics, because that's not what they're trying to be at all, actually. But they're really harnessing something in regard to the source of creation itself. And you can see the timelessness in the words of the Bible. You can see the timelessness there. Whereas I don't always get that sense of timelessness with everything else that I read. There are certain things that are not even related to religion in some sense, because I'm not religious, I'm ritualistic. And there are some things, like there are certain passages in the Quran, for example, or in the Bhagavad Gita, for example. There's this essence of timelessness in them sometimes, but I don't get it like I do with the Bible, where it's like every single line is very timeless and intentional, and it's a living document. I don't get that same feeling with the others all the time. Because when I read the Bible, I feel alive. I feel as if it's speaking to me as I'm reading it. And I know that there are other qualities. Like, for example, if you ever read Fyodor Dostoevsky, he is a fantastic writer. And Crime and Punishment, I have the book over there. Or if you've ever read like Moby Dick, for example, as well, that's another good book. And there are other types of books that you can read that are not strictly those types of books, but they have this quality of timelessness to them. I'm actually reading the Iliad right now at the gym, when I'm on the treadmill and I'm going on the incline, I'll usually, what I'm doing right now is I'll run for a little while, maybe like 20 minutes or so, and then I'll read while walking on the treadmill with the incline, because you'll burn about the same amount of calories on the incline as you do with running. But I want to make more time for that kind of stuff, and that's going to be the only time to do it. However, I do also like, whenever I'm working out, I do like just being in that state where I'm fully with myself, because that's where I'll get the most spiritual nuggets. But reading the Iliad while I'm on the treadmill and such, it's provoking this new thought experiment happening in real time, and it's also promoting this newfound sense of productivity, I would say, as well, when in a way that I actually just enjoy. I just enjoy this process. I just enjoy living out this type of life. I love the fact that I get to, not that I have to, I get to go to the gym, and instead of having to walk outside in the bloody cold, I get to go to the gym and I get to walk on the treadmill while I'm reading the Iliad. It's so cool. Like, we live in such cool times. We could do so many cool things, and yet so many people are like focused on TikTok, or they got the TikTok brain or whatnot, and they're worshiping the pink palace, or they're the depleted coomers that they think that all, like this guy, golly, these guys online, some of these content creators and these dating gurus, I don't know. Well, I do know, but sometimes I don't know what some of these people that are following them are thinking, because they've got whole groups dedicated to getting women to sleep with them. Am I the only one that thinks that's kind of gay? Like, you're devoting your life, and you're like, you made a community to figure out how to get women in bed. Like, it shouldn't be like this. Like, what kind of world do we live in? This is just kind of weird to me. It's kind of gay, because you get around a table online, metaphorically, right? And instead of talking about real life things, you talk about how to get women in bed and how to get women. And this is where their self-worth comes from. And this is where their confidence is derived. And I just can't help but think how silly it is. And again, this goes back to the main theme of this video, which is that you feel like you're the only one seeing things for as they are. And you're looking at the world and you're like thinking to yourself, what in the world are we doing? What is this existence? What does that have to do with anything with my soul? How is this going to help my soul? And if you don't ask yourself that question, then yeah, this whole channel is not for you. This whole account is not for you. I don't know what else to tell you apart from just doing yourself a solid and just turning off this and going somewhere else and go be with the degenerates. Okay, we're here because we value our souls and we want to look at something deeper. We acknowledge the importance of sexuality. We acknowledge the importance of family. We acknowledge the importance of God. We acknowledge the importance of finance. We acknowledge the importance of influence and power. We acknowledge the importance of all these different kinds of subjects, of psychology and spirituality in general, and having everything come back to Christ. That's what I see as most valuable. That's what I see as most reputable. And I don't get my self-worth or my confidence from being able to smooth talk women. Now, I definitely think that to know how to do so is good. I think if you know how to talk to women, that's good. But to have like somebody think that your self-worth comes from that, it's silly to me. And a lot of guys act like this. A lot of guys act like this, and I don't understand what they're thinking. I mean, what really are you thinking? Is sex really the only thing on your mind? Because look, I get it. Having a high libido is good, and being horny is healthy, absolutely. But holy crap, dude. There's more to this life. There's more to this life than sex. It's just the way it is. And I'm not going to judge a man or a woman based on the amount of people they can sleep with. That's a kind of a dumb characteristic to base someone's soul off of, or their worth off of. And there's just more. You know, there's the AI verification stuff that we have to pay attention to. We've got the digital ID that we have to look at. Okay, there's a lot of negative things that are potentially coming our way, but I see a great hope as well. For example, with Bitcoin, I'm seeing the potential for it being more and more every day, about how it could really change the landscape if it is what it actually is, like as far as our research is concerned, right? If it actually is what it is and what it's portraying itself to be, because you don't need to trust it. Okay, with other currencies and such, you have to trust to some degree that other people are going to be involved, and you have to trust those entities or those people. That's not the case with Bitcoin. You can just verify it, and it's a truly limited resource. And I think that it's a shame that most people write it off because they don't understand it. I've yet to see somebody that actually does the research into it and comes out thinking that it's worse. I've never seen that. I've never seen that at all. And I talked to this one guy recently, and we were talking about finance and such, and I asked him, I said, well, do you know much about Bitcoin? Like, what do you know about Bitcoin? He's like, oh, not much. And I started to ask him questions to kind of gauge how much he actually knows. And he really didn't know much. He didn't know much. And he was saying how he would prefer to just buy a house than to buy Bitcoin. And I said, well, do you own your house? And he's like, oh, well, I mean, I will. Yeah, like, you will. Okay, so what do you mean you will? Will you have HOA fees or anything? Oh, yeah, I'll have HOA fees. Okay, so will you have property tax? Yeah. So do you own your house? Because that's not the case with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, that's not the case. It doesn't work like that. And it's the same thing with cars and such too, right? We have to pay insurance. Okay, we have to pay the licensure every year and such to get it registered. It's not the case with Bitcoin. It's truly a decentralized version of money and time. And my relationship to money and time has improved the more that I study it. But even if it isn't what it actually is, or even if it isn't what it says it is, or what people say that it is, it still allowed me to expand my knowledge base in the way that I view the game of finance and the game of life in itself. And I think that's very valuable just as it is. And I think that's enough. Sometimes people always want more. They always want more. They always want this. They always want that. And of course, there's no perfect. The only perfect system is God himself. And God really isn't even a system. He's sort of a system, I suppose you could say, but he's something and someone to relate to, and someone that we need, and he wants us. He wants us, but we need him. And I used to hate that. I really did. I used to really despise that, because, well, how come God, you just get to want us, but we have to need you? How come is that? What's the deal there, God? What's the deal there? And I was very much humbled when I got to that point in which I recognized that it's not about me. It's about him and his glory. It's not about me. And that's why I need him. That's why I need God, is because it's not about me. And again, that was a very humbling experience. And I think there's a lot of vain teachings going on within the Christian community specifically. A lot of weird, just a lot of weird stuff. I just look around and I see there's very few people that are actually talking about real things anymore. Everybody's just trying to talk about things to talk about things. They're not actually trying to discover or find something. And this is something else I thought about earlier today, was how there's always this consistent searching and searching and searching with all these other ideas and philosophies and all these things. And my philosophy is no philosophy. And as soon as I got to that point where, as long as I'm still breathing, as long as I've got my heartbeat, as long as I've got God, and I have something to do or somewhere to go, life is really easy and simple. And it's just that easy. It's just that simple. And again, one more reiteration with the debt thing, because look, the debt problem with the fiat system is that everything is running on credit. And so even if you did get all the credit paid off, we would still owe something. So are we living currently on borrowed time, or are we going to take ownership of our time again? And I think with Bitcoin it's possible, and I think with Jesus Christ it's possible. In fact, I think only with Jesus Christ it's possible, but it's going to enhance with everything else and these other tools that we have. And of course, there's gold and silver. Of course, there's these other options available. But as far as the technology goes, I don't see any other option. And the way that I see it is that no matter how we view this lens of the system that we're in currently, the education system sucks. It's terrible. You're better off going to learn a certain skill on the side and just developing that skill or starting your own business than you are going to school at this point for college. Because again, it's part of the debt system. And I thought about this because we started the fiat system. Oh, I'm getting going now. We started the fiat system in the 70s, the early 70s, right, in the United States. Why? Why did we do that? Okay, and since then, how many wars have we sustained ourselves in? Because war and politics is pretty much the only reasons why we would have changed to a fiat system. Because if we don't have enough gold at the time to back up everything happening, they needed to expand because they wanted more money. And look, don't get me wrong, the US dollar right now, it is like it is the global point in which money is flowing from right now. Is that going to be it forever though? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And in fact, they can only manipulate the process for so long before the actual system collapses on itself. And again, like, your purchasing power is continually limited. And this goes in line with your spirituality as well. They're robbing you of your own spiritual time on this life. And what are you going to do? You're going to say, like, well, that's the way the system goes. Or are you going to try to figure out a way to play the system to play the system? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the system to play the system, because screw these people that are trying to rob us of our own livelihoods. Screw these people that we have to work for a currency that is completely and utterly being degraded each and every day. More so, while the government is shut down currently, our government is more functional when it's shut down than it is when it's operating. That's the level of crazy we're dealing with. That's the level of idiocy that we're dealing with. And I don't say these things lightly. It's just a fact that that's the way that it is. And the education system is BS. The fiat system is BS. The government is BS. Everything is designed to entrench you into borrowing time. And I say it's time to claim it. It's time to claim our time. It's time to claim who we are. It's time to claim what we are and why we are. It's time to be godly people and stand up and at least fight for something. Because that's what I think is the righteous thing to do. So with all that being said, join the Regal Change Academy, where we have a group of like-minded people that are dedicating themselves toward this kind of process, or schedule a one-on-one with me. And I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace. Until next time.